Hello, welcome to the weekly live warm-up exercise. I hope you enjoyed the little introductory left-hand improvisation. I have like a few buttons that I have to press to get this all in the right places when I get started, so I figured that might be a little bit of a fun introduction. I also don't always know like exactly when it goes live, so that way you have something interesting to listen to while I'm getting everything set up for it to work right. So welcome to the weekly live streamed warm-up exercise. This is where I go over a different warm-up exercise each week for you to sort of try for that week and see what kind of an impact it can have on your clarinet playing. I firmly believe that if you master the fundamentals and do these warm-up things and get really good at all of the simple basic parts of playing the clarinet, then any complicated music, no matter how hard, will be much more accessible and much more easy. So for this week, we are going to be doing an articulation exercise. So this is the final category of what I call like the 3 steps to warming up, or the 3-step warm-up routine. And it's the long tones first, which we did 2 weeks ago. And then technique stuff, which is usually some kind of scale thing, which we did last week. And then the final category, which I'm going to go over a simple exercise for today, is articulation. So just like all of the other warm-ups where we care a lot about being really quality and detail-oriented, it's the same exact thing for this one, where we're going to try to get the best sound we can out of the clarinet with this new added element of articulation. So this exercise, I call it scale articulation, and it's super simple. I want to go over the very most simple ones first so you can see the kind of quality and details we're looking for on the simple exercises before we sort of add some more complicated layers of things to think about. So this first one is just a simple like 5 notes of a major scale. You could do a minor scale also if you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold the first note nice and long as if it's a long tone, and then we're going to start moving our tongue to articulate without interrupting the long tone sound, air, and embouchure that we have going, and do 4 notes per pitch for 5 notes of the major scale, up and back down. So it would sound something like this. This would be in the key of C major. So it's a very nice, easy, simple exercise to understand, but just like all of the warm-up exercises, it's all about how we're doing it and the quality of it that makes it more worthwhile and more interesting. So the notes on that, like I said, are very simple, but I want to go over some of the more in-depth, like playing things to be focusing on for that. So the first goal is to be getting the best sound that you possibly can. So that includes even from the very first long note of that exercise, getting a very clear sound, a clear beginning to the sound, and a nice quality, full, clear projecting sound. The next step is to not let the tonguing or articulation interrupt any of that. A lot of times people might get like And once the tongue starts moving, things just get weird. Either the air stops supporting, the embouchure starts moving around a bunch, the tongue's moving way too much in the mouth. Those are all of the very common articulation mistakes. So the goal is to play that long tone like the best long tone that you can, with good embouchure, good air support, your tongue right in the right position, and then just move the tongue as little as possible to gently touch the reed and stop the vibrations for just a moment before releasing a new note. If you do that correctly, you should get a very nice legato to the sound. And then the second step is to make it really consistent. So every single note that you play throughout that whole exercise sounds exactly the same from the beginning through the sustain of the note and all the way to the end of the note. Every single note is sort of just like a cookie cutter, exactly the same. So I'm going to play it again, and I want you to listen for those details and see if every note's sounding exactly the same and if the quality of the sound is maintaining from the long note to the articulated notes. Yeah, so I think that's the right idea for how you want this exercise to sound, with everything nice and legato and everything sounding consistent. That's the main key, is the consistency, and that's what you really want out of this exercise, along with maintaining the good sound and not letting the tongue motion interrupt any of the good stuff you've developed in the long tones and the scales and the other warm-ups we've been doing. So I hope that's helpful. If you want to get a little bit more advanced with this exercise, you can do a whole octave instead of just the first 5 notes. You could do the whole range of the instrument. You can transpose it to different keys, both major and minor keys. You can get really creative, but at the core of it, it's all about getting that consistent articulation. And if you want to translate that across the whole range and into higher notes, then there's a little bit more trickiness that gets added, and more stuff and more opportunity for you to figure out how to get the good articulation on all of those notes. So I hope that's been helpful. Remember, even if you aren't watching this live, you're welcome to comment any questions that you have about these exercises, and I will definitely read them and answer them. And also, happy first day of autumn to Colleen in the comments. I hope that you're enjoying these, and I hope everybody else who watches this now or watches this later has been enjoying it. Remember to go to the www.quickstartclarinet.com/join to join the official Quick Start Clarinet community if you haven't already done that, and if you aren't already a member of the official community. But I have lots more clarinet tips and tricks and different things to think about there. So thanks so much for watching this. And remember, we go live every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. And you're welcome to add any comments, even if you aren't watching this live, with any questions that you might have. I'll see you next week, and good luck implementing this simple scale articulation exercise into your warm-ups this week.